Para table tennis time now as we get into doubles play. Mixed doubles action is the order of the day this Saturday at the ASEAN Para Games 2025. And we're going to be seeing some mixed doubles 4 category play here. And we have Singapore interest going in this one in the shape of Claire To and Roderick Lee, who are going to be coming up against Thai opponents in Natawut Tinatet and Sutira Sensatan. This is Group A preliminary action, and we've already seen the Singapore pair in action earlier on. They came up against Chichipariak Butswasirina and Chuaiwang Tirayu, going down 3-1 in a preliminary Group A match. So this turns into a must-win outing for them against their very experienced Thai opponents. The Thais 35, 26 years old, and they've been around the ASEAN Para stage for a while, as indeed have the Singaporeans. Of course, Claire To was a relatively late starter in the sport. She's in her early 30s right now. Roderick in his late 20s, so they've also been around, most notably in action successfully in 2023 in Cambodia. Just to zoom in there on Natawut Tinatet, and in the background some final instructions for the Singapore pair. Claire was the mixed doubles bronze medalist 2 years ago in ASEAN Para Games action. She took silver in the individual singles, and that was the same result she'd enjoyed a year earlier in the ASEAN Para Games. Roderick's singles pedigree, bronze medalist 2 years ago, and also a bronze in the men's doubles. The Thais will presumably start as favourites here based on individual results. Butswasirina involved in an entertaining match-up against Claire already in singles play. And for those of you new to the sport, obviously it's doubles, and as you would see in any doubles action in table tennis play, that central line comes into play with alternating shots the norm. You'll find possibly a couple of differences just in terms of the way you see plays operating in the wheelchair categories in para table tennis to take into account the mobility. It doesn't have to always be an alternate situation. We're in the Central Korat Hall for the table tennis competition here in Nakhon Ratchasima, with the formalities of the coin toss observed, and also figuring out who's going to be serving and who's going to be receiving. Then we'll be able to get into the action very soon. Typically, when you watch any kind of doubles play in table tennis, especially, a right-hand, left-hand combination is ideal, just in terms of the ability to cover the space as well as you possibly can, not to leave gaps down the middle in particular. And that isn't always the case. Sutira Sensatan, the younger of these two, but both very experienced, high-quality performers. And very often you'll see an opportunity for the more powerful of the players to get things finished off. Chanok Nat is going to be our assistant. And in the chair for this one is our umpire. We've already seen him in action conducting the coin toss, and that is Ahmad Corona Gufon. players just knocking up here. You'll notice, as you've seen plenty of Claire Toh down the years, she has a very languid, very easy style. Doesn't really move the upper body too much. They have the option of being able to hold on to the wheelchair in this category to give themselves some stability, because this is a classification that applies to athletes with severely impaired lower trunk mobility. Therefore, the ability to just hang on to the wheel or the wheel arch gives them a little bit of stability for the shots. Glimpse there of the coach for the Team Singapore, Goh Chuan, who has been such a long-serving supporter of para-sports, para-table tennis. Straight away, a really interesting look at the serve, and you can see Roderick there. Notice that there was almost a double edge involved in that first serve coming in from Tinatet. A little bit long, a little bit of a fist bump there between the two Thais. That's early on, it's one apiece. And there's the instruction, just given below the table. Roderick sets it up. It's just a little bit too much juice in the service off the backhand. A little bit too much heat on the backhand there of Tinatet for Claire to deal with. So an early advantage for the Thais. That's the instruction. And of course, you'll see the service going across diagonally. Oh, and that was a little back spinny and difficult for Claire to make the reach. Variation on the service from the Thai, much to the liking of the coach. Strong start by the Thais. Singapore need to start reeling off successive points if they possibly can. There with that sliced backhand service. Oh, and an awful lot of backspin coming on the return there. Don't know if it was entirely intentional, but it gives the Thai pair the point nonetheless. Great serving from Tinatet there. Real pace in that one. Top spin, deep, and not giving Roderick time really to react. Similar serve, this time a fanning backhand, attempted return, can't succeed. And right from the start here, the quality of the Thai service game looks to be a factor in this match. All backhand there from Roderick, but he just pushes one long. And really, in the blink of an eye, it's a 9-2 advantage for the Thais here, and Team Singapore up against it. Good change of direction. Just steered it to the backhand of Tinatet to break up the flow there. But it's still a 6-point advantage. As Sen Satan prepares to serve, and she's been very, very good at these so far. Typically with this little chopped backhand into Claire Toh, who does well, anticipated it, and that's much better from the Singaporeans. She knew what was coming. And Claire reached in. But again, that's such a difficult service to deal with. Have to be very careful about the wheelchair actually striking the table. So 6 game points on the toe serve. She saved 1. And saves 2. So she completes her end of the bargain, but they're still staring at 4 game points on the formidable Tinatet service. Roderick has to come up with an answer this time. Great point play by the Singaporeans. They're fighting here, saving another game point. And that was an excellent service return just to set up that exchange. So back to that fast bouncing serve. Great play from Claire there. Just put it into a crossover zone that was uncomfortable for Tinatet there. Very good backhand. They might have left it a bit late in this game, but they've closed now within 2 points, saving a string of game points. Back on the Roderick service. But that time just overdoing the backhand, pushing it long and surrendering the first game. But that was a heartening fight back by the Singaporeans, and I'll have to carry that form into the second as they've dropped the first against their highly favoured Thai opponents here. So 11-8 in the first. But remember, it had been 10-2 at one stage. Early points, early exchanges really dictated and dominated by the quality of the Thai serving. Once the Singaporeans were able to get the service return percentage up, they were very much in this match. And that's what they're going to have to take forward right from the start of this next game. Remember, they're playing the best of 5 here, first to 3. Time called, and it's an opportunity now to see whether this Singapore pair can pick up where they left off and produce the variation in play that turned out to be very, very useful for them, as well as the solidity required to return these services. Clearly a factor in this one is going to be just how well Claire is able to deal with those slow back spinny services of Sen Satan. Game 2, trailing by 1, Team Singapore with the ball. Lateral movement there was enough to cause a problem for Sen Satan. So first point goes the way of Claire Toh and Singapore. Well, that was a great return, because this time Claire went for the faster, bouncy service, but she was wise to that, alert to that Sen Satan, and she hit a depth that was too hard to handle. Good length on her return. So, the change-up now sees this service going towards Roderick, and fascinating to see that Sen Satan changed up her tactics there. Now confronted by taking on Roderick Lee, she went for a much faster service. And again, Well, it was all about that exchange, backhand to backhand duel there between Tinatet and Claire Toe, and in the end, Claire just finally pushing one long. Produced a couple of nice fanning backhands along the way, looking to get some action on the ball. But Tinatet was solid, and it's another good start to a game for the Thais. Much needed point on service from Roderick there. This is going to be interesting now to see whether or not Claire can cope with the service of Tinatet. Floated up that return rather for the first time, went to the forehand side with the backhand. She's very backhand oriented as a player. And again, not for the first time, we see Roderick frustrated that he's just struggled a little bit with the loop then, just pushed that one long again. It's a 4-point deficit already in this second game. Unable to cope with what came back at him from Tinatet there, and the Singaporean pair need to be careful here because this has not been what they were hoping for. They've looked a little bit disjointed in this game. He got there, but couldn't get the second. Roderick, having reached forward for the backhand, then just found himself tucked up a little bit when that return came in from Tinatet. They're playing a very good game here, the Thais. Well returned by Roderick, and in the end, it's the backhand that's uncharacteristically loose from Tinatet. Almost a clash of bats in the previous point. Yeah, they smile because they neither wanted to go for the same thing the second time, and the ball went straight through the gap. 4 points in it. Roderick leader serve. And he serves successfully, closing the gap further. Must-win game really here in the context of this. It's a sprint really, a best of 5, and you can ill afford to go 2 down. That's the best rally we've seen, certainly of the game, maybe of the match. Probing there, looking for an advantage, both pairs, and it's the Singaporeans who take the point to close within 3 points in this second game. Oh, she did so well, Claire, to receive the service. It was a difficult one that was just going out wide to the forehand, but then unable to deal with the next ball. Oh, that was brilliantly played, because that unintentional looping return there from Roderick made life difficult for Sen Satan, but she bided her time, paused, and did what was necessary to come away with a commanding position now for the Thais, thanks to that excellent piece of play. It's a 2-game lead for them. 11-8 in the first and then 11-6 in the second. They are seemingly on course for a victory in these mixed doubles preliminaries. Time really for the Singaporeans to try and regroup with Coach Goh Choi now, because they really are in trouble. thing about this Thai pair is they play with a smile on the face as well. There were a couple of moments when things didn't go according to plan, but they were able to smile. They were able to shrug off the frustration, which is not something we've seen the Singaporean pair being able to do. They're just looking a little bit tight and tense at times out there. That was the one where one went straight through the middle. And it can happen. And that was the key play right at the end of the game there. Celebration after an excellent reach then. She adjusted so well to a high spinning ball. And the Thais are now just one game away from a victory here for the Singaporeans. Well, this is alarming stuff, because having been beaten earlier on today in their first preliminary match, they cannot afford to drop this one if they're to have any realistic ambitions of coming away with success here in Korat. Back to where we were in the first game in terms of the serving protocols. Sen Satan to Claire Toe, and this, you can be sure, is going to be that very slow back spinny one that is so hard for Claire to reach around and get to. Disappointed Roderick there on the forehand. He was just a little bit cramped up about how he could play that shot, and in the end wasn't really able to extend and get the ball over the net. It was a great get on the service receive, and it looked as if it might be a third ball kill from Roderick, but what a return that was from Sen Satan. Claire's service lets her down, an unforced error there, putting the Thais into a familiar position. We've seen them take leads in both of the games thus far. 3-1 leads, which they hold once again as Tiratet prepares to serve. Tinatet prepares to serve, I should say. Good adjustment from Claire, but did she get the length? Just a quick adjustment there of the strapping on the wrist for Tinatet. And he's got such pace and such whip on that service. Just couldn't cope with the topspin on that one, Roderick, and it just floats long. So he has to win this service. And it's a stretch and it's backspin, and it was never really there for him. Sat up invitingly, and he's going through a difficult time at the moment, Roderick Lee, because with a 5-point deficit, this one's getting away from the Singaporeans very quickly. Timeout called, not surprisingly, as they've just got themselves into a little bit of a mess at the moment. And they have to do something about it before it's too late, and they'll find themselves out of this competition. Coach Go with the instructions. He's been there, he's done that, he's seen everything. He's got to try and somehow find a way to get these two, as much as anything, believing that they can make inroads into the Thais. And in contrast, would you look at those facial expressions? All smiles. They're enjoying themselves here in this match. Now or never for the Singaporeans. 2 games down, 6-1 down in the must-win third. Against a relaxed and dangerous Thai pair who are doing a lot of good things behind a strong service game. But more so than that, even, has been their consistency, particularly from the back line of the table, from the baseline, forcing errors from the Singaporeans. And the ball is with Roderick Lee to serve. Claire stepping in for the first time, missing with the second. But Cholet heard from maybe the adjacent table. And eventually they arrive at a tactical decision, the Thais, in terms of what's going to happen with the Sensatan serve. You've got a pretty good idea it's going to be that serve. No, she varied it. Oh, unable to just get that one over there. He was just leaning to the right as he attempted to flick that from deep, driving it from the baseline. And the coach knows this is a big point, big moment in this match now. Win this one, and they're within 2 now of the victory. Go short. So having mixed it up and gone with the longer serve first up, she went back to what worked for her. And so now the pressure all on the Singaporeans. Claire Tso serving to Tina Tet, and doing so, inviting that short touch play at the net. And the danger is, if she does that, it's so hard to get a follow-up. Chopped the serve, made the play, and in the end, what a stinging backhand flick that was from Sensatan. Sensational from her. Too hot for Roderick to handle. It sets up 8 match points for the Thais to get this one wrapped up in a hurry. Claire gets there. But this time, Roderick unable to deal with the put away, swatted in his direction by the Thais. And as a result, it is a speedy victory. 11-2 in the third, a runaway third, and a straight games win for the Thais. The impressive Thais, Tinatet, Natawut, and Sensatan Sutida. Very, very impressive play from them. So not to be for the Singaporeans, who've endured a frustrating day in the central hall in this mixed doubles competition, unable to get any kind of rhythm, any kind of form going. And as a result, they have succumbed in this one to the Thais, who must look as if they are very well placed to go on and medal substantially in this mixed doubles competition. There's confirmation then. It was very tight in the first, or at least it was when the Singaporeans mounted a comeback. They were struggling in the first. They put together their best run of play for the whole match, but lost it 11-8. Went down 11-6 in the second, but things really got away from them in the third. Full credit has to go to the Thai pair, because it wasn't the case so much of the Singaporeans making mistakes as the Thais forcing them. First with some solid and varied service play, but then in particular the play of Sutida Sensatan, the 26-year-old, stepping up in that third and final game, coming towards the end of it with some high-quality play. Just a quick look back at how this one panned out. Really, it was that decisive moment in the first game that decided what was going to happen in this match. The Thais came out flying with both service games looking strong. It typically was pace from Tinaten, and then there was the more spinny, slow serving towards Claire Tso that caused all kinds of problems from Sensatan. Then they got into a 9-2 lead. They stood on the brink of the match, only for the Singaporeans to come back and save game point after game point, before eventually the Thais were able to come through and take the first 11-8. From that point on, they really took control of the match. The second went their way 11-6. And even though we saw flashes of high quality from both the Singaporean players, they were unable to really string anything together on a consistent basis. The third became something of a rout, with the Thais finding their form despite the occasional quality return from Roderick in particular. And in the end, it was the form of Sensatan who smiled her way through this match, but that belied a ability to deliver stinging backhands in particular. How about the quality on that? She had no right to put such a good, powerful return on that. A stinging shot from Roderick, and despite a timeout, the Singaporeans unable to come up with what they needed to. So that means that having gone down 3-1 in their opening match against Botswana and Tirayu, this must-win match has now gone against the Singaporeans, beaten in straight games, and that means it's been a disappointing and fruitless outing for them in the mixed doubles. Thanks very much for joining us in the Central Hall. We'll leave the table tennis for now.